So I go up there for the surgery. Um, I really didn't like the narcotic, medication that they were using. I was really very sick already. I tried to get him to prescribe me antibiotics. I'm like, I'm a mercenary. I'm a mercenary. This is going to be really dangerous for you to do this without giving me antibiotics first. I'm supposed to have antibiotics before I even have my teeth cleaned. What I didn't know was apparently he had already made some phone calls. And he had made the decision that he was going to cover Beth Sweeney's butt and Dr. Gavari, everybody over at the university. He doesn't tell me he did an ablation. The nurse said that he did a suction DNC, but they didn't tell me how much tissue they submitted to pathology. He said that he couldn't get up into one side of my uterus because the tumor was too big. And he didn't tell me that he did an ablation, a $5,000 ablation, when that's completely contraindicated when you have a tumor over an inch in diameter. Mine was 2. You also don't do it when you've already scheduled the patient for a hysterectomy in a couple of weeks. That's going to cost a couple grand. That's going to remove the endometrium lining. It's going to remove the tumor. It's going to remove everything. Why do a $5,000 ablation and risk putting, releasing cancer cells into someone's system? I think he already knew that had already happened. If with what I described, which we now know to be a rupture of the tumor, I think he already knew that had probably already happened. And so, why not just beef up his bottom line by $5,000? But he didn't tell me. When I went back for the follow-up appointment, I was still in pretty bad shape. I now remember that I had symptoms of the underlying infection, but a lot of the pain was better. A lot of that abdominal pain, the back pain wasn't better. The swelling in the buttocks was still there. But a lot of that really sharp pain was gone, especially the sharp pain that made it so I was falling all the time down in the right leg. What I recorded on the follow-up exam was him, "Oh, your pathology thing is fine. Have you set up a thing to the patient portal so you can send me an email telling me I'm the greatest doctor ever?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's a setup question." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And, I wasn't going to, he was agreeing to do a hysterectomy, so I wasn't going to rock the boat with him. But I could tell it was bullshit. I was just happy to find out that I didn't have cancer. I thought, but I was believing what he was saying. I didn't know the fucker had done a $5,000 ablation. Thinking he was going to get paid by SMS federal funding. See, I haven't taken this up with SMS and the Missouri Board of Healing Arts yet. They know about it because I put the information in complaints, but I haven't actually filed a complaint on him yet. I have it over here. I'm Mr. Mo Lovin' on YouTube. You can remember that, can't you, Mo Mama? He was calling me Mo Mama because my last name was Moore. That's what he was saying. "Hey, Mo Mama, I'm Mo Lovin' on YouTube. You can remember that, can't you?" And I'm like, this motherfucker. I'm like, I'm sitting here fighting for my life, and you want to sit here and set me up to create an alibi for Beth Sweeney? I just let him keep right on thinking that he was getting away with it. And I remember saying something about Katie, and he did do something inappropriate. He wanted to see if my uterus would drop, so he ran his finger down my clitoral shaft before inserting his fingers in to see if he could do the hysterectomy vaginally or whether he had to do it C-section. I was pretty disturbed, though it probably didn't appear that way to Katie. I'm like, I was basically regurgitating what had been said, and I said, he doesn't play fair. I don't know what he's up to, but I don't like it. He's setting me up. And that's what I told Katie on the way home. And I didn't tell her everything until we got home. And she got to her apartment, and I went down and got my mail that day. That was September the 6th. No, it was like October 1st, something like that. Or September 28th. September 29th. Because Katie had gone to the Cayman Islands or something like that. Bahamas or something. And I opened up a bill, and it said $4,678 ablation. And I said, Dr. Schuster mentioned something about an ablation. Well, I started doing the research. They're not supposed to do that when you have a tumor that big. And they're not supposed to do it when they're good. It's only something that you do instead of a hysterectomy if you have somebody who wants to have babies. I went off. I immediately sent Katie an email and like, this son of a bitch did an ablation he wasn't supposed to be doing. Well, maybe he just wanted you to quit bleeding. I said, for $5,000, he's getting ready to stop the bleeding permanently when he does a hysterectomy. Well, we didn't realize what that meant was nobody could really do a proper. Nobody was going to touch me after that with an accusation like that. When you go in there telling another doctor that, they're immediately not going to help you. This is why I need United's help. Because United needs to be able to call, and when these doctors start playing games, they can say, look, we already know the history with this patient. Don't start with those games with us. We already know what's going on. You're tag teaming the patient. She caught you in your bullshit. She inadvertently caught a doctor coming on during her exam room. They fired her. The admin won't deal with the falsification of the medical records because it's the Medicaid director who's in bed with the governor. They're all running scams on all the insurance companies. So, it's one thing. I had a friend named Virginia who said sometimes they have to falsify the records to help patients. They're not falsifying records to help the patients. They were falsifying the records to make sure I didn't get proper medical care. They were falsifying the records to create an alibi for themselves, keeping me in pain so they could eventually, and then falsifying why they're writing for the pain medicine so they could create, oh, she's just an addict. Oh, there's nothing wrong with her. I said, that's criminal. That's not something intended to help patients. And I said, I know I'm not the only one. There's other patients too. I'm not going to reveal their names because I'm not going to have them being blacklisted the way I was. We can blame Beth Sweeney's actions, but they were trying to set me up way before that thing with Beth. Beth just jumped on their bandwagon out of embarrassment or whatever it was she was doing. So anyway, this doctor's trying to get me to write love letters to him through the patient portal, and I'm like, you don't look a fucking thing like Beth Sweeney. I am not interested in your ass. I'm fighting for my life. I'm not interested in either one of you right now. Not that way. Well, Beth, maybe, but I'm not. That's not, I don't have a one-track mind where, oh, it's all about Beth. I want to get back with Beth. It's about, you guys made sure I don't have proper medical care. She knows how to deal with me as an autistic person. She ought to be the one to treat me properly since she went and did all this crap. And she did give me good care. She just didn't document the care. Me being autistic, I have every right to be comfortable and choose someone who knows how to not make me feel like crap in an exam room with that stupid infantilization shit that they use. So it wouldn't be about hooking up with Beth, getting back with Beth, none of that emotional crap. Because what you hear on the audio in all the exams with her, I'm really all about business. She's the one making it about personal stuff. And then I follow her lead and play a little bit, but that's it. So I can't, after And I wanted to clarify something about the Michael Burke thing.